Anyway, this presentation is on logging, and that's referring to amateur radio communications logging. And there's, back in the old days, you were required to log. You had to write all this crap down in a book and keep track of everything. And, it was a pain in the tail. And a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people reluctantly did it and so on. Well, with the advent of the computer and the FCC also saying that you really don't have to keep a log, things sort of disappeared in that area. But they've got some really neat computer programs out that make logging a good thing to do. Again, you don't have to log, but if you want to be aware of who you're contacting and where and stuff like that, just for your own curiosity, a computerized log is the way to go. And there's bunches of them out there, and some of them are standalone, don't talk to anybody, and some of them can control your rig. There's a vast array of different things that you can do with these different programs. And a few of them that they have out there is like N1MM, which we use for field day. Now you can use it as just a simple logging program and key your stuff in and everything's great, and it automates some of it. It can keep track of the time for you and the band that you're on and stuff like that. You can also tell it to control your rig. And that's why contesters really like it, because you can have it set up so that you can click on a band, twiddle your dials, and then go to it. Now, that contesting program is assuming that you're doing CW or phone. All the digital stuff that you want to do, you probably don't want this program, because other programs will do it all automatically for you. And another program that's used out there is N3FJP, which is a nice program. We used to use that for field day, but you got to pay for it. And people didn't want to spend the $60 for it. So, but it was a good program. It got the job done. Then another one that you have to pay for, which does a lot more than just logging, is Ham Radio Deluxe. I use that because I can port any program that I've got, any mode of communications, into that log and then record it accurately. And then once you do that, you can sort it and do all sorts of nice weird stuff with it. So you can control your rig, you can have multiple radios hooked up to it, you can have multiple programs talking to it, so it's a nice program. Another thing out there is WinLog 32. That's another Windows program. Haven't seen it, but it's out there. If you're interested, take a look at it. It all depends on what you want to log. You can log just the date and time, frequency, band, and who you contacted. You can throw in signal reports. You can throw in the state, the country. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you can tell these programs to put in there, and it's all up to you what you want to put in there. Another very common site that's sort of in the cloud, if you will. It's a site called QRZ. And a lot of people use that for their logging program, because if you're running digital, for example, it can take the records that it makes, and you can upload it to QRZ and keep your log there. So it's a way to keep it in the cloud, if you will. The one I like online is EQSL. Now EQSL, you can automatically tell your logging program to ship it up to EQSL. And when you ship it up there, you give it all the credentials and so on that you need, and it puts your entry in there. They also give you the capability to design your own QSL card. So it can automatically do all your QSLing for you. Send anybody you contact and you put in there, you can send them a QSL card. And if anybody puts you in their log, you'll get a QSL card. And it's all digital, so you can print it out or just save the image, or just go to the site and say, oh, look at all these nice pictures I have. So I really like that program, that facility. There's another facility that's similar to that. It's called Logbook of the World. And that's a little more complicated to get going. A lot of people get frustrated and say the heck with it. But when you start your log, you'll notice that most people out there will either use EQSL or Logbook of the World. So that's how you can verify contacts that you've got.
Which one is used for DXCC?
Logbook of the World.
Logbook of the World. Yep.
Yeah.
But each of these other logging programs, EQSL, QRZ, have their own certificates, the
Right.
equivalent of the Logbook of the World, or
Right.
DXCC and many other things too.
QRZ does too, but QRZ, I've heard too many people say that they're too stringent, or they have a lot of errors. You have made contacts, but yet they don't record them. Their database isn't as clean as EQSL and Logbook of the World.
And the participation in QRZ isn't as high as Logbook of the World.
Right.
QSL.
Yeah, I don't really understand why, but it might be because of the inaccuracies in their database. I mean, yes.
On EQSL, when you type in their call sign, does it bring up the person and tell you, like, I think QRZ, when you type in their call sign, it brings up the person?
Yes,
Does QSL do the same thing?
yes,
Okay.
yes, it does. Anyway, then there are programs that feed your logbooks, okay? WSJT, which is FT8 and some other digital communications, it has its own little logging program, but you have the ability to export that to other logging programs, which is sort of nice. I'll get into that a little bit later here. Grid Tracker is a fantastic program. It automates all your logging for you. You can tell it when you make a contact, you can import a contact from FT8, the WSJT program, into Grid Tracker. It sorts it for you and everything like that, and you can tell it where you want to log stuff. It can be a local log, it can be EQSL, it can be Logbook of the World, Log for Old Men. I mean, it has a lot of options. I'll show you that here in a little bit. That is one fantastic program. If you're going to do logging or digital stuff, Grid Tracker, that's the last word in it. There's another program out there, DX Keeper and Log for Old Men. I mentioned that. They're out there. I've never tried them. People use them or else they wouldn't be there. Okay. We have up here a screenshot of my monitor on my computer. And I've got a wide variety of stuff here for it. I'm going to stand up a little bit. This over here is WSJT FT8. It's running there and, doing its thing. You can click on a CQ, respond to him, do all your good stuff. Everything's great. This is the waterfall. You see all the signals and the activity on the band. Now, over here, you have Grid Tracker. Here's the Grid Tracker log. It's a nice log. You can click on any of the fields along here and sort on them. So if you want to see, a particular country, for example, you go over here, click on the countries, then it'll sort them alphabetically, either up or down, depending on how many times you click on it. That's sort of nice. That's a nice logbook. If all you're doing is digital and you don't care if you log any CW or phone, between here and here, you're done. And you can set it up so that everything's done automatically. And I can't emphasize enough having things done automatically, because I'm lazy, and I'm sure a few of you here might be a little lazy, and you don't like writing stuff down. You don't like keying all this stuff in. If you can have it done automatically, and you know it's going to be accurate, then everything's wonderful, right? You get the enjoyment of seeing all these countries go by, and you're talking to them, and you don't have to do a darn thing about recording it because the computer did it for you. Okay, now over here is a map from Grid Tracker. Shows you signals out there, who's talking to whom, and it tells you which way they're going. And when you're contacting somebody, then you'll see it in red and where they are on the map, which is sort of nice, because you see a call sign out there, and it might come up and tell you where he is, like PB2A. I can't read that, but wherever he is, they looked on QRZ and records it right there, so you know where you're talking to. But what if you don't know where that place is? It's a country you've never heard of before, like Togo. I'd never heard of Togo before, but it was on the air the other day and I made the contact. And it's over here in Africa. And that little red line said, it's right there. That was sort of nice. Now, the logging program I use is this up here, HRD log, Ham Radio Deluxe log. You can tell it what you're going to display, where to put it. You can sort it on any column, and you can click on a little button up here, and you can add any type of call that you want. Whether it's CW, digital, I mean, you can just key your little heart away. And what's nice about it is it pre-fills everything for you. The time, frequency, all you have to do is key in the call sign and whatever else you want to. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, now here's a sample. Let me sit down again. Of what you get with EQSL. If you go into EQSL and look at your log, you'll see your recent contacts, and it even shows you their QSL card. I like that. That's sort of neat. Telling you who you've contacted, the dates, since the last time that you went in and collected this stuff. And you know, that's sort of interesting again. Gives you the call sign, where they are. Like, you know, I've got a couple from the United States, Romania, United States, Indonesia, Ireland, North Ireland, Argentina, France, Scotland. I mean, that's all there in EQSL. Next. Okay, this is my contact from QRZ, and it tells you everything about the guy. I've got a picture of my computer monitor there. It shows where I am, and it tells you whether you're using EQSL, Logbook of the World, and stuff like that. Next. This is a QRZ logbook. They show you the nice little flag of where you've been, who you've talked to, the country, and all that sort of stuff. And you can drill down into there and sort it and, you know, get different useful information. Next. Okay, here's EQSL. When you key in the site, you have this first screen, and you log in. Next. And then you get this one, and you can look at your inbox to see if anybody sent you some QSL cards or just a handshake, whatever. Next. Okay, this right here is that manual key in to HRD log. And that's just sort of worthwhile. The date, pre-filled. Band, pre-filled. Mode, pre-filled. Start time is pre-filled. The end time, all you have to do is hit the F3 key when you're finished with your contact, and it records the time for you. And then you have to manually key it in because it's CW or voice, you know, whatever, you know, so you've got to key that in. Pre-fills your RST report. If you don't like that, you can change it. If you want to put the name of the guy in there, you can. Put his grid in there, state, QTH, all that stuff you can put in there if you want to.
It'll automatically look it up also, won't it?
Yes, it will. There's a box you can check under options, and it'll look some of this up. Once you put his call sign in, a lot of that stuff will fill in for you. So that's sort of nice. Next. And right here, this is HRD log again. I went to the word tracking. It comes up a screen and tells you how many contacts you've made, what modes, and all that sort of stuff. But if you double click on the number of contacts, it brings up the countries. And if you click on country, it'll sort them for you. Otherwise, it puts them in chronological order. But you can see here, you know, Alanda Island, wherever the heck that is, I can't remember, Alaska, Albania, and on down through here, Azerbaijan, Bahamas, Bahrain, Belarus, you know, it just goes on and on. Next.
Dave, are you using HRD in digital modes too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. Okay, this says, this is the previous screen, the one I just showed you. 157 worked countries. Shows you what mode. See, most of them are digital, 157 of them. It tells you what band, 4 of them on 160 meters, and on and on and on. It tells you how many contacts on the different bands. So it's sort of nice. I mean, it's interesting stuff if you're into statistics or just curiosity. Next. And here is just the regular logbook. This is from 11.4. I took a screenshot of it. And again, all these fields here, you can define what you want there. I mean, the ADI file is about this long, and you don't have to use every field in it, and you don't have to display everything that's there. What I've got the date, the time, call sign, frequency, mode. These are all FT8. Here's my RSTs, anywhere from a plus 14 down to minus 22 down here, or minus 9. And then received. This is what I got from the other guy, how strong my signal was. My God, here's a minus 2 I received, but the guy on the other end got me at a plus 19. That's interesting stuff if you're into checking out your antennas to see how they're performing. And the way I do that is I've got a field here that's comments, and I say what antenna that I'm using. Right now I'm using 2 main antennas, an end-fed long wire and a gap Titan DX antenna. So you can put anything here in the comment that you wanted to. Okay, anyway, band, distance. Well, I like to see those distance columns. Let's see, here's 9,405 miles in Australia. So, and then the state goes there, and then, country, North America, Oceania, the EU, South America, Africa. So, you can have all that display on your log. And, again, it's all, what you expect out of the hobby. Are you really interested in logging? If you are, how deep do you want to go? What do you expect to do it for? Yes?
Is HRD your master log? Is that what you treat as your master?
Yes, it is. And the reason I did that is because it has the capability to accept input from any program.
And that lives on your PC or your laptop? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just walk it through QRZ, Logbook of the World, and QSL.
Well, I'm using Grid Tracker for that.
Okay.
I use Grid Tracker to populate this, but I also have Grid Tracker pointing towards EQSL, QRZ, and Logbook of the World. Okay, this is control panel from Ham Radio Deluxe. You can completely control your rig here. One thing that it does that's really neat, on 60 meters right here, it has the channels right there. You just click on it and you're there. You don't have to fiddle with the dial and make sure you're in the right place for that channel and so on. Click and you're there. And the same for any band. If you have a favorite place on a band that you like to go, click on it, it changes the band, sets the frequency, and away you go. You don't have to screw with any dials. And this interface right here, you can have multiple rigs. If you have 2 or 3 rigs, if you set them up to operate digitally, with a digital interface, computer interface, USB port, however, you can switch from radio to radio and play all you want. Another advantage, I only have 1 rig, so I don't have to worry about that. But one thing I do, I have WSJT, FT8 running, JS8 running, and I can switch between the two. I don't have to reboot. I don't have to do anything. Whatever window is active is the one that has control of the rig. So I can sit there, and I've got enough real estate on my monitor size right there. And, JS8, FT8, whichever one, and it changes the frequency on the rig, and modes are everything you need to do. So that's sort of nice. Next friend. Okay, this is a snapshot of N3FJP. This is really a nice little program. It pre-fills some of the stuff in here, but basically you got to key stuff in. But this is for manual logging, but it does help you out. But it costs $60.
One
Next.
time $60.
Okay, now here is Grid Tracker and their logging capabilities. Okay, do you want to be able to go to QRZ and have two-way communications, right? But this is mainly saying, I'm going to log to QRZ. All you need to do that is to click the button and put in your API key. The API key in QRZ is hidden in there, and it's not easy to find, but once you find it, you put it in there and away you go. There's a program called Club Log. Here's hrdlog.net. I actually do have it clicked, but not on this snapshot. You put in your call sign and your upload code, and it tells you here how to get your upload code. You go to, see what we got here. Okay, this is N1MM. This is what it looks like. Logging window up here, and your data entry down here. And you can see over here where you can select your band for either CW or phone. And if you've got your rig control turned on, this will actually change the band on your rig if you have that part turned on.
And it'll change your mode.
Yeah. But if you don't, you have a freestanding logging program.
Yeah, put it in de-expedition mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you do. That's, yeah.
But N1MM is probably the de facto contesting
You know why?
logging software. If you go to any contest station, you better know how to run
Because
this.
it integrates operating and logging as one task.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's free.
And they update it like crazy.
Yeah.
They work hard on the program.
So that, if you're going to get into contesting and you want to do logging, this is the route I would probably take. And the only reason I put this up here is for a better view. And any heading up here, if you click on it, it will sort it on that heading. And if you click it again, it'll reverse sort it. So that's just something that you can do with this program if you want to play around. Like in my comments section where I've got the antennas, I just wanted to see everything on the gap time DX. I can click on that and it'd sort it, and then I can scroll down and see everything under that antenna. Next. And there's the first screen again.